Welcome to my reading wrap-up for the month of May. I did my TBR for May, and I actually did really good on my TBR. By really good, I mean I read every book off my TBR, and a few more. I read a lot of books. I think I had, how many books were on my TBR? I had 4 books on my TBR, and I ended up reading 9 books in May. I don't know what this month was. I just had a really chill month. I do online school, so I had like all the free time, and I didn't have like work or anything. But during the summer, I probably won't read as much, or during like the month of June at least, because I'm starting 2 jobs, not 1, 2. So it was nice to have a good reading month, because I know the upcoming month, because tomorrow's the 1st, I know June is not going to be a great reading month, but I am going to do a TBR for June soon. I don't know what I'm going to read, but knowing that I'm going to be busy, I'm not going to put so many on my TBR, because 4 books on my TBR was a lot. 9 books in total is a lot. I had just all the free time in the world, and I got really into a series. I read an entire series in May. But anyways, let's hop into the first book. I'm gonna go in order of what I read and not by books. Like, I'm gonna go in chronological order, I guess. So the first book I read in May, I always want to say March, but it's May. It's literally May. Bad Reputation. If you read the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series, you met Willow and Garrison in the 5th book, I think. No, not the 5th book. We meet them in Addicted After All. I think that's like the 6th book in the series. 7th. It's the 7th, I think. I think it's the 7th. But it's like one of the wrap-up books. We meet Willow and Garrison both in that book. Garrison is a bad boy. Willow's like the shy girl. I read a lot of bad boy, shy girl books. Obviously, that's one of the tropes I like, but she a big boy. This is technically 2 books in one. I just have the special reader's edition of it, but I'm counting it as 1 book. If I really wanted to count it as 2, I read 10 books this month, but no, I'm not. It's just Bad Reputation in my head. Like, it's technically the Bad Rep, like, duet, but it's Bad Reputation. Every time I see it, I just think of Taylor Swift, because, you know, like, Bad Reputation, the Reputation era album. But no, Willow and Garrison like slowly get together. At first it's like a cute teenage romance, and then it turns into like a long distance college romance, which I've never read before. I never read like a long distance romance. I don't think I ever read a long distance romance. Well, this one was really good though. She went all the way to London, and he's in Philadelphia, and it's like them struggling with the fame, because the Addicted / Calloway Sister series, since they're connected to like in that series, obviously the Addicted like characters are very famous in their series, and since they're related, one's related, and they're connected at least to them. They're semi-famous, and so they're dealing with that. They're dealing with like paparazzi, how to handle like a long distance romance. So it was so good. I gave this 5 stars. I loved the book so much. I was literally kicking my feet. I had butterflies. Like, he would literally be like, "Can I hug you, Willow?" Because she's never been hugged before, like, by a guy. It was like so cute. During the whole beginning, I had butterflies, and then during the long distance, I was like, I want them together so badly, and then they finally had like a happy ending. So I really loved their duet. And we get to see farther into like for their epilogue part, we see farther into the future than where the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series left off. And I haven't read the Like Us series, so that goes even obviously like farther into the future in that universe. But we see like how the addicted like kids are like in their 20s now, in the end of the book, in the epilogue, and I was like, they're 20? I just read a book about them being born. Like, I think Moffy was like born in he was like literally a baby during here, and then over here in the book he was 22, and I was like, how many years passed in this book? I was like, I'm aging so much. but I loved them. I gave them 5 stars, and I'm very picky with my 5-star reads. So this being a 5-star read, I actually have another 5-star read in here. I had a good reading month. But this book, I loved it. I loved every single part of this book. I loved, and I didn't expect to love them as much as I did. I liked them more than Lillian Lowe. So my whole ranking of them now in the like whole series is like Reich and Daisy and Amber Top. They cannot be touched. Then it's Willow and Garrison, Lily Lowe, Rose and Connor. I love all the characters, but they just have a special place in my heart. Like one side of my heart is for Razy, the other side is for, they don't have a ship name, they have like 4 different ones. I think it's like, Warrison? I don't know. But the next book I read directly after that, I was like, I want another college romance, because that was like a large chunk of that book was like part 1 was them in like high school in their teenage years, and then part 2 was her going off to college because they meet when she's 17. So I was like, I want another college romance. So I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I give it 4 stars. Everyone loves this book. Everyone I know gave it like 5 stars. I liked this book. Don't get me wrong. It was a good book. It was fun. It was so fun. It's basically a girl named Hannah and Garrison. Oh, I did not say Garrison. Garrett Graham. Oh my head is still in, like, I kept saying Garrison while reading because I read this back to back to this. So the G names got me real messed up. Garrett Graham and Hannah. Garrett Graham, at some points, I did see all the hype, but I feel like he wasn't overhyped, because I can see, like, I hate the word overhyped because, like, people just like it. Like, it's not overhyped, people just like it, you didn't like it as much. I can see the points where everyone's like, oh my god, Garrett Graham. Like, the hands-off rule, Garrett Graham. Like, hello, Garrett Graham. I loved that scene. I do like these 2 characters together. However, it was a great start to the series, but it was not my favorite in the series. No, it wasn't. Basically, Hannah tutors, I'm not gonna say Garrison, Garrett, and he's like the hockey captain, and they're like a hockey college. So he's like a well-known like playboy. They're all kind of well-known for being playboys on the hockey team. And they go to Briar. She has a past history in like SA, so trigger warning for that. Like, not past history, she has a past history of it happening. So it kind of like worked through that in the book. There were some scenes I was like, it's alright, and that's why I didn't get 5 stars. Like, if I loved every second of a book, I'm giving it 5 stars. If there was like 1 or 2 scenes where I'm just like, it's kind of boring, like, right now. Like, every book usually has, like, a kind of boring part, but, like, if I'm enjoying my time during those boring parts, like, that's gonna be a 5-star read. And that's why, like, for some of the book parts, I was like, it's alright. Like, let me just get to this chapter. Let me get to the next chapter. Like, it wasn't, like, the best. But there is a book in the same series that had the same, that was a 5-star read, I will say. One of the books in the Off-Campus series was a 5-star read for me. But I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but I could see all the hype it got, and it deserved that hype, because I loved when they would, I love how it would, like, time framed itself, because I think it came out in, like, 2015, 2014, or like, around that time, because they were saying things like One Direction, and, like, Justin Bieber was a big part. Like, the whole One Direction conversations, I loved that. Her drunk singing Bad Romance, I loved it. Like, she was literally drunk singing, like, Bad Romance. Is it Katy Perry who sings Bad Romance? I want to say it's Katy Perry. But, like, those are the scenes I like. And we only have a few of those. But I love the way it, like, aged itself. And usually some books that age itself, like, now it's kind of, like, it's, like, a little bad now. But The Deal, I love how it was like, oh, you were at a fun time, like One Direction. And directly after that, I was like, I need another hockey romance before I order the rest of the series. So I read Icebreaker. I gave this 4 stars, I think. For, like, this much of the book, I was like, this is a 3 stars. This is a 3 stars. I don't like this book as much as everyone else is liking it. But I'm never going to call a book. I'm never going to call a book overhyped because I just didn't personally like it as much. Other people can like it just as much. But for, like, majority of this book, I was like, this is gonna be a 3-star read for me. Like, it wasn't the best. I didn't really like Anastasia. Nate, however, he was alright. Like, Nate's alright. They had great quotes in this book, don't get me wrong. Like, the whole Jersey scene, the Uber scene. No, the playlist alone. This book had a playlist, and it has, like, Ariana Grande. Taylor Swift is the first one on the playlist. You can see all the songs I love. There's Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Sabrina Carpenter on this list too. Billie Eilish. Like, this is a great playlist in this book. You put a Taylor Swift song in your playlist and I'm reading your book. I didn't really like Anastasia. I feel like she was just rude to Nate for no reason. Like, she was kind of holding the whole ice skating thing above him when it wasn't his fault. But after, like, I got, like, over my deal with Anastasia, like, that was just my personal, I was like, why is she still, like, she would go from, like, getting with him to, like, back to hating him. And they were kind of, like, friends with benefits, but they just weren't friends. And I was like, why are you still mad at this man? Like, he's compromising with you multiple times. So I had kind of problems with the main character. It was like, she likes to plan everything, and, like, it's explained later in the book, like, why she plans everything. I hated Erin, though. Her ice skating partner. Not him. Oh, Nate. Nate is a good guy. He's a good boyfriend. Nate is amazing. He has that protective, like, golden retriever energy, and I love that. So once they started actually, like, dating, probably, like, because they were, like, just, like, getting together and they were, like, friends with benefits, but once they started dating and she kind of, like, was, like, a part of the friend group with all the hockey boys, that's when the book got really good. I was like, okay. And we find out more about Nate's past, a little bit about her, like, family. That's when the book got really good. Like, when they were, like, walking around with onesies on for Christmas, I was like, I love this book. And that's, like, those moments got me. The chicken nugget scene, him being like, I just saw you eat, like, 20 chicken nuggets in a minute. And that was so hot. Like, him, like, saying that and her having, like, issues with food because she's obviously a figure skater and, like, she has a really toxic partner, like an ice skating partner, and him being like, I'm gonna, like, help you, like, and he helps her through that, like, nutrition problem she was having because she didn't realize that her nutrition plan was so wrong because her toxic figure skater partner took control of her diet and she didn't know that it was bad. So I liked the moments of, like, Nate and her together. I didn't like Anastasia without Nate. Like, if Nate wasn't there, I would not like Anastasia. But will I read the sequel when it comes out? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna read the sequel when it comes out. Probably, because I really want JJ's book. And JJ's not the next one. I think they're getting multiple parts in this book. I think all the guys are gonna get their own love story, but JJ was my favorite character. What's his name? Jaden? His actual name's, like, Jaden. But I don't know. They kept calling him JJ. And he was my favorite character. I loved him. Him and I think Henry. Henry was, like, the funny one. He was, like, a painter. Like, I liked the friends and Nate, but without Anastasia, I would still read it. Like, if it was just some other girl, I would still read it because Nate. But Nate's not one of my book boyfriends, you know? I don't know what else to say. Like, if it was not Nate and Anastasia, I wouldn't rate it. Like, I only like her with Nate. I feel like I'm just explaining it multiple ways in the same way. But maybe I'll read the sequel when it comes out. I think it comes out in November? Wildfire, I think. I think it's... Whose book is it? The guy she, like, fakingly date when someone's hitting on her in the bar. Russ! That's his name. Russ! I read that book after, I read so many books after that, so I don't really remember a lot of Icebreaker. Like, it just went right over my head. But the next book I read after that, because I was in this hockey kick, guys, it's so bad. Like, my hockey kick, I'm a fan of hockey. I ordered a Matt Barzal shirt, and I've never, I was about to wear it. I'm Just a Bill shirt. I also ordered a Dean De Laurentiis shirt, because he's my favorite off-campus boys. But that's not coming for a few weeks. But my Matt Barzal shirt, it's in the washer right now. But I'm wearing this in honor of Sabrina. We'll get to her book in a little bit. But she's a lawyer, so I'm Just a Bill. Sabrina's lawyering Harvard Law. Woo! Sabrina. But the book I read after Icebreaker, The Mistake. This book, underrated, guys. I love John Logan. If you didn't know, Matt Barzal is John Logan's fan cast. And now I'm an Islanders fan. Like, I got so into hockey this month. It's like my new obsession. I'm like, hockey season doesn't start until October. And I'm literally about to buy tickets once they drop. Like, I'm going to a hockey game. I'm gonna see the Islanders. I don't care how far they are. I don't care if they're a couple hours away. Like, I am going to see them. Because I'm obsessed with hockey now. I've been watching videos on, like, hockey for beginners. Like, it's not funny. These romance books. Like, I got really into hockey. No, I got really into hockey romance, and I need more. But John Logan and Grace, I love them. I love Logan. I love Grace. This book gets so much hate. This book was so fun. I also gave it 4 stars because compared to the other books in the series, or the next book in the series, no, not the other one. Some of the other ones are a little... We'll get to her. We'll get to the one that almost put me in a slump. But this book is so good. I loved it. He wrote her a love poem. A love poem. Like, John Logan. And he was, like, kicking his little feet. He was like, I'm writing a love poem. Just because she was like, you want me back? Do everything on this list. And love poem was on it. And all the boys were, like, joking with him, like, you're writing a love poem? He's like, yeah, what rhymes with this word? I love John Logan. He was so sweet. And his past with, like, his alcoholic dad, seeing that and him, and even in the epilogue, like, I almost teared up. I was like, oh, he's getting his dreams. I love this book. I feel like it gets so much hate that I was seeing in the off-campus community space on TikTok. A lot of people don't like The Mistake, and I actually really liked it. I think it's almost as comparable to The Deal. I actually like this better than The Deal, which that's honestly a really uncommon opinion, I think, is what I was seeing, because a lot of people don't like The Mistake. I was like, why are we hating on The Mistake? It's such a good book. I loved The Mistake. But you know what I loved even more? That was my next 5-star read of the month? The Score. Dean De Laurentiis? Dean De Laurentiis, or what's his full name? Dean Sebastian Kendrick Hayward De Laurentiis. When I remember his name. No, I loved him. Him and Allie. So Allie is kind of this dramatic relationship junkie. Like, she's always in a relationship. She just got out of one. She was really sad. And she slept with Dean De Laurentiis, who is known as the biggest playboy on campus. And he ends up becoming, like, obsessed with Allie, kind of. And he's like, I want to be with you. Like, imagine getting the biggest playboy on campus to, like, fold for you. Like, she had him walking like a dog. And Winston, if you read the book, you know who Winston is. Winston was that scene was so funny. Him in the bathtub with Winston. Winston's not a character, but he was that was one of my favorite scenes. I also love the baby scene where she's crying. He calls her baby. Hannah and Garrett are like, what? You guys are secretly together? And he just slams the door on their face. He's like, I'm not doing this right now. Like, she is crying. I'm taking care of, like, my girlfriend. I love that scene. I love them together. Them watching their French soap operas when they can't, like, they don't know what they're saying, but they're just guessing. They're like, oh my god, this woman is killing this. Like, what? I love them together. They are so cute. I loved them in Legacy too. I gave it 5 stars. I ordered a Dean De Laurentiis shirt because I loved him so much. I read this book and I was screaming at every part. I was like, I love them. Because I do. I love them together. They're my favorite couple out of the entire series. It goes them, like Dean and Allie, Grace and Logan, Garrett and Hannah, Sabrina and Tucker. I'm sorry, Sabrina and Tucker from The Goal. I hated this book. I didn't hate the book. Okay, I didn't hate it. It wasn't my favorite in the series. I gave this, I think, 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. But I think you can't go from, like, a 5-star read to another 5-star read. Like, this book deals with accidental pregnancy. Tucker and Sabrina, they were fine as side characters to me. I didn't like them as main characters. You know, like, when I'm in their perspectives, like, I don't care. Other people love this book. And I can, like, it makes sense why they would love this book. I just personally didn't connect to these characters. Like, I didn't like them. Like, I could have seen any girl with Tucker. I would have been like, okay. Any guy with Sabrina, okay. I did like them in the Legacy. I just didn't really like this book. I feel like it was just anticipation for most of it, because they get together within, like, seconds, and then, obviously, she gets pregnant. And then they're like, what are we doing? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's, like, them trying to just figure it out, when I feel like I need more build-up from that, and there was not much build-up. Like, they didn't even hint at this couple in any of the other books, besides, like, at the end of this one, like, Tucker comes in, because no one saw Tucker this entire book. Everyone's like, where's Tucker? Oh, he has a girlfriend. And then here, we're reading kind of, like, the same timeline, and it's like, where's Tucker? This is where Tucker was. He was with Sabrina, and I was like, okay, like, I like these two together, but they were fine as side characters. Like, I didn't need their book. You could have just had them on the sidelines. But I know that, like, Tucker needed his own book because he was technically on the hockey team. I like the 4 guys. So, like, I read it just to get to the Legacy. Would I reread it? No. I didn't really like them, but it's fine. Like, I like Sabrina, obviously. She's my little lawyer girl. I like her in the friend group later, but I feel like she wasn't really a part of the friend group, and that was, like, the whole point. Like, her and Dean hated each other, and then they had the sit-down conversation. Everyone hates Dean in this book. I didn't really hate him. I feel like they just needed to communicate better, and her sitting down, like, crying near the closet. I really was like, okay, they're, like, okay now. And in the Legacy, I loved them. I loved all the characters in the Legacy, which is, what book is this of the month? What book? What? I read 1, 2, 3. This is my 6th book of the. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my 7th book of the month. I was like, what number am I on? I loved Sabrina in the Legacy. I loved Tucker in the Legacy. Did I love Tucker? Tucker's an okay character. But Sabrina being finally a part of, like, the girls' group chat and them all making fun of, like, their husbands is so funny to me. This book follows a wedding, a proposal, an elopement, and a surprise pregnancy. That was a lot. I can't believe Logan and Grace in the first couple of chapters. They just did that without telling anyone. I'm not going to spoil it because I think this came out recently. This came out, what, last year? 2 years ago? But I liked Sabrina and Tucker in this book compared to their other book. I loved them in this compared to their other book. I think I liked them more because they have a more established relationship. Like the other one, they're still trying to like figure everything out. I think that's the whole point of the book. But in this one, they already have it figured out, and it's just fun. I love an epilogue novel. I know that's not common. Everyone usually hates on epilogue novels. But someone just texted me about my book reviews. So I just got a text. It's like, Sky, you do the cutest book reviews. Thank you. Because I do them on my Instagram. But this is, oh my god, where was I in my thought? Oh, my favorite part of this book, the haunted doll they literally pass around each other. They mail it back and forth. What was his name? Alexander? During Sabrina and Tucker's honeymoon, they have a disaster of a honeymoon because of Alexander haunting them. Dean and Allie, I loved how, because they're obviously the engagement part. I loved them, Dean proposing, Allie being like, no, and then her being like, marry me, Dean. Like, I loved every couple in this. I feel like a lot of people hate this book because of Garrett, what he says. But I feel like people just loved him so much in The Deal, and they were like putting him on God level. For me, I didn't mind Garrett in this book, and I didn't think he did something that wrong, because I didn't put him on God level. Like, everyone was obsessed with Garrett for so long, and I wasn't, since he wasn't my top book boyfriend. Like, I was, like, fine with what he said, because he did apologize for it, and I was like, okay, he's human. He's a human book character. He's not real, but he's obviously, like, a human book character, and he's gonna make mistakes, and a lot of people just put him on God level, and that's why they didn't like this book, because the characters are gonna make mistakes. But I love an epilogue novel. That's what I was saying earlier. I love an epilogue novel because I love fluff. I love little fluffy chapters, like when they're doing cute things. Like, that's what a whole epilogue novel of it. I'll read a whole novel, just fluffy, cute things. And I will love every second of it. I gave this 4 stars, which is surprising because everybody hates The Legacy. The Legacy wasn't that bad. I loved, like, almost every second of it. I mean, there's some chapters where I'm like, okay, this is boring. But other than that, I was like, I'll reread The Legacy. Like, 4 stars, I'll reread, but, like, I'll reread some parts of it. 5-star books, I'll go back to all the time. The next book I read was 2 stars. The Cheat Sheet. Hold on. I have to, like, swallow. Okay, I'm good. I had, like, a weird, I don't even, like, air bubble in my throat. It wasn't, like, a burp. It was, like, I had to, like, I don't even know what was happening there. But The Cheat Sheet, I didn't really like it. It was, I feel like, for a younger audience. To be placed as a romance book, I feel like it should be like a YA romance, because it was a little cringy. Like, some of the stuff, they called her Brie Cheese. She's like, oh, Hottie McHotterson. Like, some of it, like, going from very mature books to then this. What was this? I can see why people like it. It was alright. Wasn't my favorite. There were moments where I was like, okay, it's alright. Would I reread it? No. Was it okay? Was it just a simple, easy book to get through? Yeah, you have to overlook some parts because you're like, what is she saying? This main character, Brie and Nathan, I was like, at least they're meant to be. Like, not much to say on it. It's friends to lovers. They've been in love with each other forever. They fake date. He's famous. She's a ballerina. That's really all to say about them. They do a Tide commercial, because she was embarrassing with a Tide pen stick. Because she's the embarrassing one. Like, Nathan, he has his embarrassing moments, but it was interesting. I don't think I would read Sarah Adams books again. I might. I've heard good things about her other books and, like, bad things about this by, like, the same people. They're like, oh my god, it gets so much better in her other, like, books. But The Cheat Sheet was kind of a flop. Other people love The Cheat Sheet. I'm like, pop off, sis. Go on. Enjoy this book if you enjoy it. Don't enjoy it if you don't enjoy it. It's books. It's not that serious. And then the last book, which I finished today, and I absolutely loved, but I only give it 4 stars. But would I reread it? Absolutely. Am I ordering the sequel? Absolutely. Where We Left Off by, I think her name's Sapphire Hale? Sapphire? I loved this book. It is past and present perspective. First book I've ever read with past and present. Besides like Ricochet in the Itsuka/Calloway Sisters series, but that like only goes like 1 or 2 chapters in Ricochet. This is like every other chapter is like past and present, and it kept me reading. I didn't think I would like that, but also trigger warning for sexual assault. But it's not in depth. It's like there, and then it's like okay, and then they work through it. But it's not by the main guy. Don't worry, he is good. This boyfriend, Tate and River, are the main characters. I love them. No one ever talks about this book. I randomly discovered it on TikTok because I follow the author now. I don't know. But she kept making TikToks about this book. Obviously, it's her book. Her book is so good. Everybody go read this. But basically, River and Tate started dating when she was 14. He was 15. He then turned like 16 at like homecoming. And we see him turn 16. So there's a little bit of an age gap, but it's not that bad. And then it cuts to when she hates him now and she's 17, he's 19 now. And she hates him, he doesn't know why. And it's like uncovering the truth. Their parents start dating, but don't worry, they're not like step siblings or anything. Their parents are just dating because her mom doesn't know that like she used to date this man's son. Their parents end up like not being together. Like in the end, guys, don't worry, their parents do not stay together once they find out. Because obviously like Tate and River are gonna get back together. He gets tattoos for this girl. He has tattoos for her. Like, hello? This book is so good. And you're kind of uncovering like what happened in their original love story to make her hate him so much. And she's like, okay, I'll give you another chance. And it's like uncovering the truth, kind of. And he doesn't know what he did. He's like, I was gonna tell you I loved you, and then you went and you said you hated me and to leave you alone. So that's exactly what happened. And this book is so good. Everybody go read it. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved the whole what happened aspect. It was like he would do anything for this girl. It was such a cute love story, them being like teenagers and then them being like older and still like having that love for each other. Like he still loved her. She had a good reason to hate him. But realistically, it wasn't his fault what happened. And she always thought he was to blame. And that's why she hated her. Or she hated him. But then it turned, like, the truth comes out. And she's like, oh my god, why have I been hating you forever? Like, I love you. Like, I love this book. Go read it. I literally just posted it on my Instagram with a quote. And that's where that text came from. But those are the 9 books. Let's see if I can hold them all up. These are they're going to be a little out of order because I'm just placing them as I see them. Oh, this is going to be so out of order, but I don't care. Books are so heavy. Ooh. These are the 9 books I read this month. Why are they lopsided and like not in order? Oh well, so I read 9 books this month. I keep saying 9 months. Like, no, it was 1 month, 9 books. Those are the 9 books I read this month. Overall, it was a really good reading month. I only disliked 2 of the books I read. And even then, like, I would still, like, reread a couple of scenes from that book. The cheat sheet, no. The goal, yeah, I would reread some scenes. But overall, that's it. That's all oh, this is such a long video. Wow. But yeah, that's what I read this month. I don't know what else to say. Goodbye, I guess.